My name is Angelina, and I am a psychic medium and spiritual intuitive guide. And I have decided to make this YouTube channel because I really enjoy working with people. I have a passion for just helping people understand and heal what's going on in their lives and get through all of these tough, crazy spiritual journey hiccups that end up happening as we go through it. So here's a few things that I just want to tell you about this channel, what I'm hoping for, a little bit about me. This YouTube channel is not meant to be a stuffy spiritual lecture. What it's supposed to be for me is just a way of understanding and learning all kinds of different things, different ways of life, different religions, different aspects of spirituality, and how they might implement into your life and what you do. So I'm not going to droll on about love and light and spirituality and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to just talk about what's on my mind and what's on your mind, because I think that's important, especially about what's important, especially while we're navigating how to really come into our power. So we're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the stinky, because spiritual work can be all of those things. And we're going to mess up and we're going to make mistakes, but we're going to get through it and understand it. And at the end of the day, we'll become better spiritual people, or people in general, because that's what life is. And so ultimately, we're going to just get into it, jump in, and get into some mystical mischief. So my goal for this channel is to explore spirituality. My commitment is to be transparent, honest, and healing, because ultimately that's what spirituality is all about. This channel is not about being perfect. In fact, I'm probably going to mess up a lot. I am not perfect. I also pride myself on not being perfect, because if I sat in front of you and told you about how everything was good and easy and this and that, it wouldn't be real. It would just be a lie. And I'd just be blowing smoke in your face, which people do, but is not my thing. So I'm going to share with you my spiritual journey and things that have worked really well for me and things that haven't worked for me. That isn't to say that they're wrong or that they won't work for you. It's just my opinion, and you can take it for what it is. So as a psychic medium, some things that I'm going to be offering to you. Wednesdays and Sundays, I will be doing free readings. I do tarot, oracle, spiritual channeling, spirit guide work, pretty much anything that you could possibly ever want. We're going to work on that on this channel. If you would like a more in-depth reading, you're welcome to hit me up. I do free readings on here, but I also do paid readings if you want something more in-depth, or spiritual mentoring, or just having someone to talk to every once in a while. I'm totally here. So some things to keep in mind for the free readings, though. I do only offer 5 free minutes, and since this is a public channel and kids could be watching it and whatever, I do ask that we try to keep it somewhat PG-13, just because it's hard to communicate death and destruction and horrible, sad, hard things in a public forum, because it is about healing, yes, but I also want to make sure that it's not triggering other people on the channel. So let's see here. If you have a specific topic that you'd like to understand or delve into, specifically like a religion that you are really interested in, or a lot of people are talking about protection and saging and that kind of stuff, let's talk about it. I am interested in learning and growing just as much as all of you are. I do have more of a higher level of knowledge in terms of some spiritual things, but like I said, it's also been a lot of trial and error for me. So that's me and what I hope for this channel, and I hope that you will all join on the spiritual journey with me, because it's a lot of fun and I have a passion for it, so I'd love to be able to share it with everybody. Now, this first video, we're going to talk about the hardest thing that you will ever experience in the spiritual realms of life, and that is the P word. So The P word, like I said, it's the worst, most frustrating, hair pulling out, irritating, want to scream into your pillow every single night before you fall asleep thing that you'll ever experience in your life. At least that's my opinion. And that is the not so love and light concept of patience. So I'll be real with you, being patient has been so hard for me. I am not a very patient person by nature. When I want something, I want it now. When I want to learn something, I learn it. When I decide that this is something for me, then I jump in both feet. Not a doubt in my mind this is going to happen. However, spirituality is not so easy. You can't just jump in and make it happen. I have been on my spiritual journey my entire life. I mean, anyone who tells you differently, like from the time you're born to whatever time you become awakened, that's still a spiritual journey. All of those experiences still affect who you become once you are awakened and understand what's happening. So one thing that I'm hearing a lot from people that I work with, that I'm friends with, and even myself, is, wow, how did you, Angelina, get to a point where you're able to channel spirit and hear your spirit guides and not fall asleep when you're meditating and just really be able to get clear direction from spirit? Well, I'll be honest, it's not something that I just woke up one day like, oh, I'm deciding to be a psychic medium. I decided that I'm going to open this up and understand spirit, and now I can. It was not like that. It's been a dirty, frustrating, irritating process because I really had to learn patience. And I'm still actively learning patience and having to implement patience into my every moment of every day. It's so hard. So if we flash back to almost exactly a year ago today, I was in a horrible, terrible situation where I was just out of an abusive relationship that I didn't know I was in an abusive relationship until I opened my eyes one day and I was like, this is so unhealthy. What in the world is going on? This is not me, and this is not my life, and this isn't what I want for it, right? So not only that, but after this person moved out of my life forever, thank God, I found out that my house was haunted. So how do you find out your house is haunted? Well, you come home one day, because you're the only one who lives there now, right? And everything's moved around. Pictures are knocked off the wall. Your bed's messed up. Like, somebody went into my bed and slept in my bed. That's not cool. And also not probable that just somebody broke into my house. Like, I have a dog, so I would know. So not only was that happening, but also my dog was just terrified. Every time I would come home, like, she's kind of, oh, there she is barking right now. So I would come home, and my dog would be just terrified. She'd be shaking. Her hair would be all standing on end. She was just upset, which is not normal. She's used to being home by herself. She never really had an issue. So anyway, a lot of weird, crazy stuff going on. And it wasn't until I had this absolutely terrifying dream that this man was watching me and trying to take me. And, you know, long story short, not to get too crazy in depth, but I decided this is not going to work for me. I'm going to a spiritual shop and I'm going to get some help. So what did I do? I went to a spiritual shop. I was working about 12 hours a day, so it was really hard for me to get into anywhere because every place would be closed by the time I would even be leaving work, right? So it took me 2 hours to get home from work. So it just wasn't working. Like, I wasn't able to figure out a really good outlet to get help. So finally I found this metaphysical shop, and I was all brave and I was ready, and I reached for the door to open the door, and it was like something was holding me back. Like, do not open this door. This is not the right thing for you. But I opened the door anyway, and I went in because I knew that that thing that was telling me not to was just this giant fear that is not serving me. So I opened the door and I went in, and everybody in the store was busy. They were busy working with other customers. So I was kind of, walking around, like trying to make eye contact with anybody that worked there, like, please notice me. I need help. Anybody, please look in my direction. I'm sorry. I know you're working with other people, but like, stop and help me, right? I'm just screaming this in my mind, but everybody's busy. So I'm just kind of like walking around, picking things up, acting like I know one thing or another about anything that's in the store, which I didn't. So I'm just walking around, picking things up. Finally, this lady walks over to me and she says, "Oh, hello, can I help you?" And I look at her and I take a deep breath and I burst into tears and bawled for about 25 minutes. It was really embarrassing and awkward and horrible, and I just unloaded on this poor unsuspecting woman about how absolutely terrible my life was and how it wasn't working for me and how there was this thing terrorizing my dog. Not even terrorizing me. Like, okay, I get it. Like, I'm a human. That's your purpose, is to mess with me. But, like, you're messing with my poor, sweet dog. Like, she doesn't deserve that. She's just a dog, and she's wonderful and sweet. And she doesn't deserve whatever terrible thing is happening while I'm at work. So anyway, I'm telling this woman about what's going on, and it's about 5 minutes before they're closing. And so she sets me up with some hematite and some obsidian and all this stuff, and she explains to me what gridding is, which we can talk about in another video. But ultimately, she explains to me, okay, this is sage, this is what sage does, this is Palo Santo, and this is what Palo Santo does. And we can go over those things also in another video. But my point to this story is that when I went home, I didn't wake up the next morning a psychic medium. Like, that didn't happen, okay? I also didn't wake up a week later after I had cleansed my house and gotten rid of this spirit and came into my own personal power of, I'm not somebody to be messed with and I am a powerful being. Even after that happened, I did not become a psychic medium. I still wasn't open to spirit. And 6 months later, after I came to this beautiful spiritual community and started at this wonderful spiritual church, I still wasn't a psychic medium. Okay? So it's taken me actually a little under a year, I guess, to really understand how to be a psychic medium. It's been a long process. It's been so frustrating and hard. And it's not me sitting here saying, like, you guys are going to have a really hard time with this. But it's me to tell you, to reassure you that there are so many things about being on a spiritual journey that are not going to just be easy and fun and lighthearted. I'm lighthearted. And I know a lot of you have your moments of lightheartedness, but it's not always like that. So some of the things that people really struggle with, and that I personally have also struggled with, and this is not a comprehensive list, this is just what I have, on the top of my head brainstorming for about 35 seconds. So here's some of the things that people are really frustrated about, and having to understand that patience is part of learning this. So falling asleep in meditation. That's really hard. I do it all the time. Not being able to meditate at all, like being able to turn off your mind and just meditate and be present in the moment, it's hard. Seeing but not hearing your spirit guides. It took me 6 months to see my spirit guides, but it was so creepy because they had no face. So no face, and I knew they were talking to me, but I couldn't hear anything that they were saying. So seeing a spirit guide with no face, okay, I get that one. It's weird. Hearing, so seeing but not hearing your spirit guides. Hearing but not seeing your spirit guides. So hearing them or getting a notion in your mind about what it is that they're wanting you to do, but you can't actually see them and meet them. That's also a big thing I hear constantly. Having a bad relationship habit that keeps knocking you off your groove. Like, yeah, I've got this. I'm meditating all the time. I've met my spirit guides. I've got this spiritual community and I know what I'm doing. And then I met this person and now they hate my spiritual stuff and they're scared of it. They don't like it. They don't want me doing it. And so I'm just going to take a little bit of a break from it for now. That's really common. I hear that all the time. Like, okay, well, I can't judge you for that. Like, if that's what you want and that's what makes you happy, then you have to do what's best for you. And when you're ready, your spirit guides will still be here, and that's totally fine. Another thing is, like, fear. So fear is a huge topic. Like, this is some fears that people have, but there's just so many more. So some fears are fear of things that go bump in the night. That's, like, yeah, things talk and things move and there's like knocks on the door that there's nobody there. Like, yeah, that's a thing. But it's not scary because you're powerful and whatever it is, you're able to beat it or communicate with it or send it into the light so that it can heal. Demons, or you're going crazy because you're hearing things and seeing things and that's not normal. Failing is a big one. So like, well, I started it and then, you know, I had a bad reading and I wasn't able to give any information. They were completely blocked off for me and I failed. Those things happen. That happened to me like a week ago and it was really embarrassing and I wanted to crawl under a rock and die. I wanted to crawl under a rock and cry. It was awful. But the girl was really nice and she gave me some really good pointers and everything is a learning experience. Like for every 20 readings I do, I have one bad one. That's not a bad record. That's a wonderful record. Like I would rather have 19 amazing healing sessions with a family or a person or a group or whatever. I would rather have those 19 and that one bad one than not do it at all because it's worth it to me. Another really big one is being judged by your family or your friends. Like, since becoming a psychic medium, a lot of my friends are like, oh, cool, you talk to dead people. Like, it's weird for them. Like, I get it. It's weird if you aren't used to it, so sure. But you know what? It's really friggin' cool, and I love what I do, and I have a passion for people, so you can kind of think what you want. You know, at the end of the day, my happiness is what's important here. So, another thing is, another obstacle is not having time for yourself, or having too much time for yourself, as the case may be, where you're just in your mind all the time, or feeling disconnected from spirit, like having blocks, right? A lot of people say, well, I have this block. Or being too connected to spirit. So you're spending too much time in meditation or too much time in reading a book or, you know, trying to figure out the process that you don't actually do what you need to do. So in meditation, that's important, right? It's important for you to clean your mind out and relinquish all these attachments that you have to expectation. That's important. But also, doing is important. Finding somebody to read for, even if it's a free reading, even if it's a 5-minute reading, even if it's just a yes or no question, that is still important for your spiritual growth. Even if you get it wrong, you still have to try because that's how you learn. And another thing is caring about others' opinions. Like, you really just have to let that one go because opinions are like a pinky. There's a more grotesque explanation, but I will say a pinky. Everybody has two, which is pretty accurate because you could change anybody's opinion no matter what, or they could change their own opinion. So just go with what you feel is right because your intuition is the most important thing in this particular instance. Okay? I mean, the list goes on, and here's the thing. When you let go of all of those things, all of these fears and denials and blocks and worries, and just breathe through it and let it happen, that's when you become a psychic medium. Or psychic, or intuitive, or healer, or whatever it is that you want to be, or your gifts are telling you that you should be. That's how you do it. You let all these other things go, and you just stop worrying. And that's something that did happen to me overnight. Because one day I came home, and this was maybe a month or two ago. I came home and I was like, I am so tired of being scared. I'm not going to be scared anymore. And I am so tired of worrying, and I'm not going to worry anymore. And I'm just going to go for it. And that's how you start. You just do it. And nobody's going to tell you when that time is. You just have to make that decision for yourself. And I'm telling you that when you do, that's when miracles happen. That's when you come into your power. That's when you can look at somebody and you can say, hey, I know that you like lavender essential oils. You should definitely get back into that and keep buying more spray because your spirit guides are telling me you're out. That's a silly little thing, but that one little thing could change somebody's entire life. Like, it seems small and inconsequential, but that is actually something important to some people. And that's what happens when you just let it all go. And you just go with the flow. So, there isn't a rush to your gifts. That's the whole point of this whole story, this whole broadcast, is there's no rush. And your gifts are there. Like, everybody's born with their own set of gifts. When you use them, how you use them, when you recognize them, all of those things are in divine timing. And even I can't tell you when that happens because future is fluid. So if you decide today that you're going to come into your powers, but then you decide tomorrow that it's too scary, that's okay, because they're going to be there when you're ready for them. And if you can believe it, your spirit guides, your counsel, your angels, all of them are waiting patiently for you. They have mastered the concept. It's not a job for them. It's not a 9 to 5. They don't clock in and out. They're there for you no matter what. And they don't get mad at you. They don't get frustrated at you. They just are waiting for you. And they're totally happy to wait. They're happy to do whatever it is that is best for you. So, what I'm hoping to get from this is so here's my question. What do you do to implement patience in your life? What do you do when you're so frustrated that you're just ready to quit and you're annoyed and nothing's working out the way that you thought it would? What do you do to make that right? What do you do to empower others? This is a great opportunity for us to be able to share our successes and even our failures, if that's what it is, to be able to empower ourselves and empower others. It's not always going to be perfect, but it's going to be you, and that's okay. Being authentic and being transparent is what spiritual life is all about. So, what I'm hoping for you guys is that you will be able to leave a comment, let me know what you think. Any feedback that you might have to So what I'm hoping is that you guys will be able to answer these questions for me and for other people who will be watching this video at some point, so that we can all be able to grow and learn from each other. And if you feel led, please subscribe to my channel and like, and let me know if you have any specific topics that you would like to discuss in the near future. Don't forget, Wednesdays and Sundays I do 5-minute free readings from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you'd like a more in-depth reading, then please let me know and I will schedule a time to do that for you, letting you know exactly how long it will take and how much it would cost. So I hope to see you all there. Also, if you do come to the live reading, please make sure that you have a specific question in mind. Please, no health questions. I'm not here to diagnose anybody. Also, no like impending doom questions. I'm cool with relationship questions, but remember, no doom and gloom. I don't want to tell anybody they're going to die or anything, because frankly, nobody tells me that and I don't want to know. So I hope to see you guys all Wednesday and Sunday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I will see you all.